Sai. We'll begin this session with the prayer Sahana Bhavatu. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Saha Viryankaravavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. I offer my humble pranams to our revered founder, Sadhguru Sri Madhusudan Sai. This university was established with the sole aim of creating men of character who are deeply rooted in the ancient scriptural truths. The students here study scriptures alongside their academics. They not just focus on learning mantras, but also give subsequent amount of time to learn its meaning too. On this note, today we have the privilege of hosting an extraordinary individual, Sri Keshava Prasad. Born and raised in the vibrant city of Bangalore, he embarked on a lifelong journey of spiritual enlightenment and profound professional achievements. At a remarkably young age, Sri Keshava Prasad began his exploration of the ancient language of Sanskrit under the guidance of eminent scholars Sri Ananta Sharma Bhonagiri and Sri Ramachandra Sharma Tyagali. His spiritual awakening started early as well, when at a tender age, he received his first initiation into Sri Adi Shankaracharya's Saundarya Lahari from his own mother. Sri Keshava Prasad's quest for knowledge and spiritual growth didn't stop there. Throughout his life, he received blessings and guidance from revered spiritual leaders, including Sri Jagadgurus of Sri Shringeri Mahasamsthanam, Sri Hariharapura Mutt, Sri Shakatapura Samsthanam, and Sri Editor Mutt. These luminaries recognized his dedication to the study and dissemination of sacred wisdom. Beyond his spiritual pursuits, Sri Keshava Prasad had a distinguished 26-year career in the field of IT and consulting software management. His professional journey began with a product startup called Inchroma, and later he held pivotal roles at industry giants like Wipro and Sapient as a program manager. Notably, he also served as the vice president at a prominent city bank in Singapore from 2011 to 18. Currently, Sri Keshava Prasad's profound passion for spiritual wisdom and devotion has led him to play a pivotal role as a trustee with the Sampurna Swaraj Foundation in Bangalore. He is also an integral part of the group Nada Bindu Kala, and he has delivered numerous enlightening lectures on Saundarya Lahari. Today, we have the golden opportunity of delving into the extraordinary text of Saundarya Lahari under Sir's guidance. Join us in this captivating conversation as we uncover the profound spiritual insights this afternoon. Over to you, sir.
Sairam sir, please unmute your mic.
Can you hear me now? Can you see my screen as well?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Today we will speak briefly and understand briefly on Adi Shankara Bhagavatpada Virachita Saundarya Lahari. When we look at Saundarya Lahari today, we will specifically look at the surface level of Saundarya Lahari, speaking from a multi-dimensional perspective. Okay, so let me directly go into the creator of Saundarya Lahari. We all know about Acharya Sri Shankara Bhagavatpada. We also call him as Adi Shankaracharya. Adi Shankaracharya is said to be the creator or the author of Saundarya Lahari. Saundarya Lahari is a hymn of 100 shlokas. Let us see a little bit about Adi Shankara Bhagavatpada. Adi Shankara is from the lineage of Acharyas, starting from Vedavyasa, Shuka, Gaudapadacharya, then Govindapadacharya, then we have Adi Shankara. Adi Shankara was a Bala Sannyasi, which means he took his sannyasa at a very, very tender age by seeking permission from his mother. Adi Shankara is considered as the greatest Indian Advaita philosopher. And to his credit, he is also called as Shan Mata Pratisthapaka. That means he brought together the Shaiva, the Shakta, the Saura, the Vaishnava, the Kaumara, and the Ganapata sects of Agama and worship. And today, the Advaita, the people who worship under Advaita, actually follow the Shaiva, Shakta, Saura, Vaishnava, Kaumara, and Ganapata. Adi Shankara reintegrated Sanatana Dharma from the onslaught of other schools of thought, including Buddhism at that time. Adi Shankara has been credited to have written Prasthanatraya Bhashya, which includes the 10 principal Upanishads, Brahma Sutra, and Bhagavad Gita. Most importantly, Adi Shankara integrated the Bhakti Marga and the Gnana Marga. Not only did he author the Prasthanatraya Bhashya, he also authored many stotras, stutis for almost all the gods and goddesses and devatas, and prominently also including Saundarya Lahari. Saundarya Lahari is, we will go into Saundarya Lahari in a moment. In Stotra Sahitya, Saundarya Lahari is considered as the Mera Shringa Kriti. That means it stands at very, very tall level. What are the highlights of Saundarya Lahari? For us to remember, these 4 numbers actually help us. How Saundarya Lahari is made up of 100 hymns or shlokas in total. The first 41 shlokas are called as the Ananda Lahari, which deal with the Nirguna Parabrahman. The last 59 shlokas are called as the Saundarya Lahari, which deal with the Saguna Parabrahman. So together, the 41 plus 59 shlokas are constituted to make up the 100 shlokas in total. Most importantly, Saundarya Lahari boasts 33 commentaries that are available in Samskrita today. Among all the Stotra Sahitya, Saundarya Lahari is accorded the highest place because of the following. From a multidimensional perspective, Saundarya Lahari, we can look at it from 6 perspectives: the Parabrahma perspective, the Kavya perspective, the Mantra perspective, the Bhakti perspective, the Tantra perspective, and the complexity perspective. Let us take the first one, the Parabrahma perspective. Saundarya Lahari has a prolific content. It professes, when we say SL, it means Saundarya Lahari for short. Saundarya Lahari professes Parabrahma Tattva, both the Saguna Brahman as well as the Nirguna Brahman. If you look at the Kavya dimension, Saundarya Lahari has poetic qualities. It is composed in Shikharini Chandas, containing 17 syllables in each line. Saundarya Lahari is a beautiful kavya describing the transcendental beauty of the Parabrahma Tattva. It incorporates many complex kavya alankaras. So it can be studied as a kavya shastra as well. Saundarya Lahari's another dimension is the mantra shastra. It is a mantra shastra and it is one of the foremost, most important works in the Sri Vidya Upasana. We will understand a little bit of Sri Vidya as we move along. From the Bhakti perspective, Saundarya Lahari is a devotional hymn that naturally creates bhakti and bliss. So when we talk about bliss, we are talking about Ananda. When we talk about Ananda, we are talking about Sat Chit Ananda. So Saundarya Lahari is also a Tantra Shastra. It is a tantric treatise where Sri Vidya work is mainly dealt about, and even in the Sri Vidya, it mainly adheres to the Samayachara worship of Devi. It contains deep tantric knowledge and philosophy. We will look at Samayachara Marga in a moment, but for those of you who there are two margas of Upasana. One is called as the Kaulachara, another is the Samayachara. Kaulachara worship is considered as the left-hand path, and the Samayachara worship in Sri Vidya is called as the right-hand path. The Samayachara Upasakas worship Devi in their Sahasrara Chakra, bringing the Kundalini in the Raja Yoga Marga all the way, moving from the Muladhara to the Sahasrara Chakra. So that is Samayachara. This is the Sri Vidya path and the Tantric path of Saundarya Lahari. And Saundarya Lahari is not a simple work. It is a very complex work because it integrates the mantra marga, the yantra, which is the Sri yantra or the Sri chakra. It integrates tantra, it integrates Raja Yoga, it integrates Kundalini Yoga, Samayachara Sri Vidya, as we just spoke about, Kavya, all integrated into the Advaita Marga. So let us briefly look at the features of Saundarya Lahari. Saundarya Lahari addresses the Parabrahma Tattva similar to what we see in Vedanta, the Upanishads. Saundarya Lahari addresses the Parabrahma Tattva, which is the Nirguna Brahman, in the way where Saundarya Lahari sees Parabrahma Tattva as a state of blissful unity of both Shiva and Shakti. So the blissful unity of Shiva and Shakti is called as the transcendental Parabrahma Tattva. Saundarya Lahari addresses both the Nirguna Parabrahman in the first 1 to 41 shlokas and Saguna Parabrahman in the 42 to 100 shlokas. The importance of Saundarya Lahari is that it speaks of Parabrahma Tattva as the sacred feminine. And the sacred feminine is called as the Parashakti or Lalita Tripura Sundari or Jagan Mata, the sacred mother. In fact, Lalita Sahasranama also contains the 1,000 names of the same Jagan Mata. It starts with Shri Mata, Shri Maharagni. So that talks about our sacred mother. Another important feature of Saundarya Lahari is that it covers cosmology. That means the origin and the birth of the universe. So this is called as the Srishti Kriya or Srishti Marga or cosmology and cosmogony. We see the Srishti in 4 ways of Devi. We call her the Shabdamayi Srishti. We call her the Arthamayi Srishti. We call her the Chakramayi Srishti, and we call her the Dehamayi Srishti. So all the four are integrated with each other, and the Brahmanda or the cosmos that we live in or that we are part of has both the Shabdamaya Srishti, the Arthamayi Srishti, the Chakramayi Srishti, and the Dehamayi Srishti. As one gets into Saundarya Lahari and Sri Vidya deeper and deeper, these concepts start becoming clearer. Saundarya Lahari addresses the most important point is this. Saundarya Lahari addresses the unification of Atma with Brahma through the Raja Yoga Marga. We call this the Brahma Atma Aikya, which is what ultimately leads us to the four Mahavakyas. The first important Mahavakya is Aham Brahma Asmi, which is the Brahma Atma Aikya. So Saundarya Lahari addresses importantly this unification of the Jivatma with the Paramatma. Saundarya Lahari speaks about multiple forms of Devi. So when we talk about Devi, we talk about her Stula Rupa, that is the gross Rupa, the Sukshma Rupa, and which is the subtle Rupa, and finally her Para Rupa, which is called as the transcendental side of Devi. So Saundarya Lahari speaks about all these three. At the same time, Saundarya Lahari also speaks about multiple forms of worship of Devi, both in terms of the Bahya Puja as well as the Antah Puja. Bahya Puja is something that we do outside our body. That means we look at the Stula Vigraha of the Devi or the God, and then we do the puja of that. Or it can be a Shri Yantra as well. The Antah Puja is the Antar Yagna, the internal puja of the Atma. So we spoke about her Stula Rupa, then we spoke about her Sukshma Rupa and the Pararupa. The Sukshma Rupa of Devi is subdivided into three more Sukshma Rupas. The first one is called as the Sukshma Rupa, which is her Mantra Rupa. So this Mantra Rupa is also called as her Panchadashakshari Mantra. That means Panchadasha Akshari. That means 15 syllables mantra. So that 15 syllables mantra is called her a Sukshma Rupa. Then a subtler Rupa exists for Devi, Sukshma Tara Rupa. The Sukshma Tara Rupa is called as a Kamakala Swarupa. And the third Rupa of Sukshma Rupa is Sukshma Tamarupa, the subtlest Rupa. This is her Kundalini Swarupa. Saundarya Lahari has shlokas that actually address her Mantra Rupa, her Kamakala Rupa, and her Kundalini Rupa. And it integrates all the three Rupas and gives us an overarching Rupa and her way of worship. Saundarya Lahari addresses worshipping her Pararupa with the Antah Puja. So in Antah Puja also there are three margas. The first one is called as the Kaula Marga, where the sadhaka does the puja of the Nirguna Swarupa Devi in his or her Mooladhara Chakra. So that is called as the Kaula Marga. If the sadhaka brings the Kundalini up and does the puja in his or her Anahata Chakra, it is called as the Mishra Marga. If the sadhaka does the puja of Devi in his or her Sahasrara Chakra, bringing Kundalini all the way up to the Sahasrara from the Mooladhara, this is called as the Samayachara Marga. Out of all the three, Kaula Marga is considered as the lowest, and Mishra Marga the middle, and the Samaya Marga is considered as the highest way of the Devi Upasana and the Devi worship. Now, let us look at Saundarya Lahari from the poetic qualities. That is one of the dimensions that we will look at very quickly. Saundarya Lahari shlokas worship Saraswati as Sharada in shloka 15 for granting sattvic poetic qualities to the sadhaka. Why am I saying this is, Saundarya Lahari not only is a poetic work, but it also is important for the sadhaka to have the ability to understand the poetic work, number one. Number two, it also is important for the sadhaka to pray to Saraswati and Sharada, not only to understand Saundarya Lahari, of Saundarya Lahari to others as well. So, from all these perspectives, it is very important to get the sattvic. It is very important to worship the sattvic qualities of the Devi, which is the Sharada or the Saraswati. So, Shloka 15 actually allows us to worship Devi as Sharada. Next important point is this: the Saundarya Lahari is composed of Shikharini Chandas, which gives a beautiful experience when chanted or even when rendered as a composition. Because it is a kavya, it allows us, and it is composed in Shikharini Chandas with 17 syllables in each line, composed of totally 4 lines, 4 padas. So it allows a composer to take this composition, each shloka, and compose it with a raga, which is infused with the bhakti and bhava. Over many years, many have described Saundarya Lahari as having a soothing and healing aspect when chanted or when listened to. And there have been claims that Saundarya Lahari can cure many ailments. As the name suggests, Saundarya Lahari deals with the waves of bliss, of transcendental beauty of the Creator. So Saundarya is the transcendental beauty of the Creator, who is the Parabrahma Tattva, or the union of Shiva Shakti, or the Parabrahma Tattva here is also termed as Lalita Tripura Sundari. So this is the motherly, transcendental motherly beauty of the Creator. And that beauty comes into the sadhaka in what way? Not in the Rupa Marga, not as a vision, but in his heart as a blissful Sachidananda Lahari or Chidananda Lahari. So Saundarya Lahari is experienced by the sadhaka in his or her heart as blissful Sachidananda. So that is the level of beauty that we look at in Saundarya Lahari. Saundarya Lahari, with its poetic qualities, has the power of giving this blissful experience when understood and used appropriately. Now, as we said, Saundarya Lahari also has the Mantra Shastra qualities. If you see on your right side, you see this has got 15 syllables mantra. This mantra is called as the Sri Vidya mantra or Panchadashakshari mantra. The first 5 syllables are called as the Vagbhava Kuta. It has these letters Ka, A, E, La, Hrim. The next 6 is called as the Kamaraja Kuta, Ha, Sa, Ka, Ha, La, Hrim. The third one is called as the Shakti Kuta, which is Sa, Ka, La, Hrim. All the 15 syllables put together is called as the Panchadashi mantra or the Panchadashakshari mantra. This mantra is supposed to be the highest mantra, and this has to be chanted only with the initiation of the Guru. Without Guru, this should not be chanted. I'm only showing the knowledge here for everybody's benefit. Each Saundarya Lahari shloka embeds bija mantras of different forms of Devi. Different forms of Devi forms different Sri Vidya mantra, including the Bala mantra, Panchadashakshari mantra, Mahashodashi mantra. These are different forms of Devi, and Saundarya Lahari actually includes Bija mantra of all these different forms of Devi. This gnana is to be obtained only through the Guru Shishya path. In Saundarya Lahari, Adi Shankara worships Devi's mantra swarupa. As earlier said, there are 3 Sukshma Swarupas. One of them is the first one, or the grossest among the Sukshma Swarupa, is the Devi Mantra Swarupa, which is also called as the Sri Vidya Mantra Swarupa. In both margas, one is called as the Kadi Vidya Marga, another one is the Hadi Vidya Marga. What are these two? So today, originally there were 12 Sri Vidya Upasakas. Manu, Chandra, Kubera, Manmatha, Lopamudra, Durvasa, Agastya, Surya, Vishnu, Shiva. Similarly, there are 12 such main sadhakas that became the 12 main sadhakas of Sri Vidya. Out of that, today, 2 mantras or 2 paths of Sri Vidya are very, very prevalent. The first one is called as the Manmatha Marga or Kamaraja Marga. It is called as the Kadi Vidya. The second one is called as the Lopamudra Marga, which is called as the Hadi Vidya. So, in Sri Vidya Marga, today we have Kadi Vidya and Hadi Vidya, which are the most prevalent paths. So, what you see as the mantra here is the Kadi Vidya mantra. Once one get deeper into Saundarya Lahari, this Sri Vidya knowledge can be accessed both with the Guru Krupa and Guru Sanidhya and Guru Seve. So all the 3 are important to get the Sri Vidya knowledge and to move ahead into Saundarya Lahari. There is a lot of good overlap between Saundarya Lahari and Lalita Sahasranama. This is a deeper study, and when we perform comparative studies of both Lalita Sahasranama and Saundarya Lahari from Sri Vidya perspective, then we get into this kind of anusandhana. Samayachara path of Sri Vidya has been followed by Acharya Gaudapada, Adi Shankara, and Lakshmidhara, and today in Sringeri lineage, and this is the heritage we inherit. All the people who are belonging to all of us, the Sanatana Dharmis, who are part of the Sringeri lineage, are carrying the torch of the Samayachara path of Sri Vidya from Acharya Gaudapada. I'm not saying that it started with Acharya Gaudapada, but from Gaudapada, followed by Adi Shankara, and followed by Lakshmidhara. Lakshmidhara lived in the 12th or 13th or 14th century. There are many different versions of his time and lineage. And Lakshmidhara was one of the foremost commenters or commentators of this Saundarya Lahari Kriti. So he also followed the Samayachara path of Sri Vidya, and then the unbroken Sringeri lineage, and which is what we inherit. Now let us see Saundarya Lahari from Bhakti aspect. Many people chant Saundarya Lahari as well as Lalita Sahasranama as Parayana, as well as Japa, as well as a devotional hymn. People who are doing Parayana chant them, and some people also do this as Japa. That means they chant it multiple times for a certain upayoga or for a certain phala. And many people also do it because of the bhakti, because they want to connect to the Devi. For people in pure Bhakti Marga, chanting of Saundarya Lahari, either with or without understanding the fuller or the complete meaning of each shloka, even for them, Devi bestows or gives many phala. So what I'm trying to say here is, there are many people who are so dipped in the Bhakti Marga of Saundarya Lahari that they chant it without even understanding the complete meaning of Saundarya Lahari. What happens then? Devi bestows the phala or gives the phala to them. However, when chanted with full understanding of Saundarya Lahari, of each shloka, the benefits are multifold, million times higher. That's the point. Each Saundarya Lahari shloka is associated with bija mantras as well as yantra. Some people use it for prayogas for various material as well as non-material benefits. If you see, if you buy any book on Saundarya Lahari, generally it will contain Saundarya Lahari explanation, along with each shloka will have some kind of a yantra, and they will also prescribe that if you do this, you for 1,000 times or 1 lakh times you do the japa with a certain bija mantra, then you will get a certain benefit, both material as well as non-material. This is just FYI and beyond the scope of our study. The best way is to get the gnana of each shloka and move forward in the path of both bhakti and gnana marga combined, and chant Saundarya Lahari with full understanding. This elevates the devotion and moves us from the Saguna Marga to the Nirguna Marga more seamlessly. Saundarya Lahari gives us the Moksha Marga to the serious seeker. So that means that Saundarya Lahari addresses all the 4 Purusharthas, the Dharma, Artha, Kama, as well as the Moksha. It is said that Devi, the worshipping of Devi, gives us both the sadhaka, both the bhoga as well as the moksha. So which means Devi gives the bhoga, the samsara bhoga, as well as the moksha. For those of us who are in the bhakti and gnana marga, the bhoga for us is to be in the service of the mankind. For people like us who are in the service of the mankind, the bhoga for us is the shakti and the ability for us to serve better. The moksha marga ultimately means that I don't want to be born again. I want to get out of the cycles of the birth and death. I want to be reaching the Sayujya Padavi or Sayujya of the Devi, and I don't want to come back again into the cycles of birth and death. This is the Moksha Marga. But Moksha Marga is the path of a very, very serious seeker. This is a serious subject and a deeper subject, and actually is addressed in multiple shlokas in Saundarya Lahari. And one who takes Saundarya Lahari in a deeper level, into a deeper understanding, that person will be going into the Moksha Marga so much more seamlessly. Now, let us go to the next aspect, which is the Tantra aspect of what Saundarya Lahari gives us. What does Tantra mean? Tantra means science, technology, engineering, architecture, process. That is what Tantra means, as opposed to the occult and esoteric meaning of Tantra. The occult and the esoteric meaning of Tantra tells us something else. We say Tantra means Vama Marga. Tantra means Maya. Tantra means somebody who is doing some kind of magic. No, that is not Tantra. In fact, today, technology, the Sanskrit equivalent word for technology is Tantra Gnana. So Tantra means the science, the technology, the engineer, architecture, as well as the process. This is a very, very important definition. This is the ancient definition of Tantra. Now, why are we talking about this? More importantly, Saundarya Lahari provides the science, the technology, the engineering, architecture, and process aspect of one's own interiority. That means one's own inner self. So how do we define this? So if I want to know my inner science, my inner technology, my inner engineering, my inner architecture, and my inner process, that means I am moving towards understanding my own Atma, my own body, my own Stula Rupa, my Sukshma Rupa, my Karana Rupa, and all my Panchakoshas. That science and technology is what we are talking about. That is the internal. Only then will I be able to move from the Saguna Marga to the Nirguna Marga. Only then I'll be able to move from the Bahir Yajna to the Antar Yajna. So here, what are we talking about? We are talking about the understanding of my body. That means all of us. So it applies to each one of us when we talk about ourselves. It is my body containing the 7 chakras and what is the architecture of each chakra. That is the science that we will understand in Saundarya Lahari. The architecture and the path of Kundalini and her joining Shiva in my Sahasrara and me attaining the Jivan Mukta state is what Saundarya Lahari tells us. The Sri Chakra and its architecture and how the components of Sri Chakra is embedded inside me and how to access it and use it for Nirguna worship of Shiva and Shakti in my Sahasrara. And finally, what is Sri Vidya? How such great knowledge of myself can be used for my own enlightenment. This is the Tantra aspect of Saundarya Lahari. And not only that, as we earlier talked about, it also gives us a very, very detailed comparative study of Samayachara Tantric worship, which is the internal worship inside our Sahasrara, versus Kaulachara Tantric worship, which includes both the internal in Muladhara as well as the Bahya worship of Devi. Now let us briefly look at what are the commentaries written by different commentators on Saundarya Lahari. Now, any greatness of a work or a book or a composition is always weighed by the number of reviews or the commentaries or bhashya or tika that work commands. Now, coming to Saundarya Lahari, it commands approximately 43 Sanskrit commentaries, out of which there are 33 commentaries that are considered to be available. Out of these, Acharya Shri Lakshmidhara's Vyakhyana is considered as the foremost in terms of relevance, accuracy, and being closer to Adi Shankara's school of Sri Vidya worship, which means for adhering to the Samayachara school of Sri Vidya worship and the depth and breadth of the knowledge it provides. I have based the framework of my work on this commentary of Lakshmidhara. Other commentaries include Saubhagyavardhini of Kaivalyashrama, Aruna Modini by Kameshwara Suri, and Acharya Dindima's commentary as well. Now, this is the last topic that we will look at. Saundarya Lahari is Paravidya. Why do we say this? The knowledge of Parabrahman is Paravidya, or it's also called as Brahma Vidya. The 4 Vedas, Upanishads, Brahma Sutras, Bhagavad Gita, and the 4 Mahavakyas lead us to the knowledge called as the Paravidya, which is the path to self-realization and the path to reach the Jivan Mukta state in this present life. This Paravidya contains the ontology as well as the epistemology. The ontology is the entire structure of cosmogony and everything. The epistemology is my particular path to reach the Jivan Mukta state, my particular path to the moksha. So everybody's epistemology is unique to that person. Adi Shankara, through his Advaita school and through his Prasthana Traya Bhashya, as well as through his Stotra Sahitya, especially Saundarya Lahari, has given us the same knowledge of Paravidya and the path to the Jivan Mukta state, as well as the liberation, which we call as moksha. This Paravidya is also called as Sri Vidya, which means Sri Vidya is the same as Brahma Vidya, is the same as Paravidya. With this, we come to the end of this talk. Acharya Sri Shankara Bhagavatpada Virachita Saundarya Lahari, a multi-dimensional treatise. Thank you very much for the opportunity to address all the students of the esteemed university. Thank you. I will be happy to take questions and answers.
For that wonderful session. With your permission, we would like to ask you a few questions, sir.
Please.
First question, what is the nature of the difference between Shankara Vedanta and Sri Vidya?
This is a very, very deep question. At the Parabrahma Tattva level, actually there is no difference. At the Advaita level, there is no difference. Because both Shankara Vedanta as well as Sri Vidya lead us to the path of Jivan Mukti, lead us to the path of Advaita. Only from a Dvaita perspective, we can see differences. The Advaita Marga actually teaches us not to see difference, but only to see the oneness. That is one. If we go deeper, if we look at Advaita philosophy, Saundarya Lahari teaches us what Shankara Vedanta teaches us as well, which is the Brahma Atma Aikya. Shankara Vedanta teaches us what Saundarya Lahari teaches us from a tantric perspective of how. But only when we go deeper into Saundarya Lahari, we will be able to take each component and understand each component. For example, we will be able to understand the multiple components of Parabrahma Tattva, which is the Shiva and Shakti perspective. Then we divide the perspective of the entire Brahmanda. Lalita Tripura Sundari, who is the Shakti aspect, takes the form of the entire universe, the Brahmanda. And this is, the whole Brahmanda is actually in the form of Sri Chakra. And this Sri Chakra, this Brahmanda is made up of 36 tattvas. This is the Shakta Darshana and the Shaiva Darshana. Once we understand the constituent elements of all the entire Brahmanda, then we start integrating them. We understand differentiation and integration, right? Similarly, we have to differentiate each aspect and then start integrating it. For example, today, the main two components that we need to integrate is basically Shiva and Shakti, and integrate them into Parabrahma Tattva. That is number one. Number two, Atma and Paramatma are two components that we need to integrate and say they are the same. Once we not only understand, once we have the knowledge that Atma and Paramatma are the same, that is where the Advaita is. So from both these perspectives, Shankara Vedanta as well as Saundarya Lahari teaches the same thing. I hope I have answered your question at a very surface level. But as we go into Saundarya Lahari deeper, we will really understand the constituent elements of the entire cosmos. And then we'll also get that is the ontology part. Then we will start our own epistemological path of what am I made up of? How is Brahmanda the same as the Pindanda? What is the sameness? How is Sri Chakra the same as Sri Vidya? How is Bhagavati Stula Rupa the same as Sukshma Rupa? So as we slowly, our doubts are getting cleared and we start integrating all these things in our heart, our Advaita actually gets more and more refined. As we get more refined, we will get more into the path of liberation. It's a complex topic, a complex, fantastic question, but we should take this up as a different topic altogether and try to answer them. Thank you. Any other question?
Yes, sir.
Please.
How is Kashmiri Shaivism closely related to Sri Vidya?
Profound questions. Thank you very much. Okay. I will not go into the details yet. Kashmir Shaivism is a path called as the Trika method. So in Kashmir Shaivism, now we'll have to go and define Kashmir Shaivism and Sri Vidya if we have to answer the question. This is also a very deep question. I want to say this, that in the Advaita Marga, we should not differentiate Kashmir Shaivism and Shakta Marga. Because both, we should see the commonalities instead of seeing the differences. From a commonality perspective, the Shakta Marga and the Shaiva Marga both treat Shiva and Shakti as equal. That means Shiva, as much importance is given to Shiva aspect, the same importance is given to the Shakti aspect. That is number one. Number two, Shiva has given Shakti the entire responsibility of the entire cosmos. That is number two. Number three is Shiva is called as the Prakasha Swarupa and Shakti is called as Vimarsha Swarupa. So, Saundarya Lahari also goes in the same way, where Shiva is called as the Prakasha Swarupa and Shakti is called as the Vimarsha Swarupa. And without Shakti, Shiva cannot even vibrate, let alone create the universe. That is the first shloka of Saundarya Lahari, which says, Shiva Shaktya Yukto Yadi Bhavati Shakta Prabhavitum. So without Shakti, Shiva cannot even vibrate, let alone create the universe. But here, is Shiva creating the universe or is it the responsibility of the Shakti? So from this perspective, Kashmir Shaivism says, no, Shiva is supreme, Shiva creates the universe, or Shiva gives the responsibility to Shakti to create the universe. So which means that the Shaiva Marga stands one level above and gives 1 point extra to Shiva and says Shiva is a little higher. Okay. Whereas our Shakta Marga, which means that it is Shiva Paramya Marga. Though Shiva and Shakti are looked at from the same perspective, there is a slight, emphasis given to the Shiva Marga. Whereas when you go to the Shakta Marga, where Saundarya Lahari is a Shakta Marga treatise, it is said that the universal mother is responsible for the entire universe because we exist within the Hiranyagarbha or the entire Brahma as an Anda or the Hiranyagarbha. So since we exist in that, So we exist in Devi herself. And Devi is the most important one because she is called as the Mula Prakriti. So she is the mother. But mother, one half is not enough. So Shiva is equally important. So Shiva and Shakti are given the same Pramukhyata. But Shakti, because Saundarya Lahari is a Shakti Paramya Grantha, Shakti is actually given a little, one extra, it actually brings up, or it is Saundarya Lahari is created as a glory of Shakti. Having said that, we have to understand the father, the Shiva, through Shakti, the mother. That is one. So, and it is also said that understanding mother is so much easier than understanding the father, which is true in our life as well. So, and Devi gives us so much easily, and Devi is available to us easily. That is the way we understand the mother aspect of the entire universe. We call her the Prakriti or the Mula Prakriti or Lalita Tripura Sundari, because she is the mother of all of us. And then we go to the father. However, when they are in the unity state, the Shiva and Shakti are in the unity state, then they are the same as the Parabrahma Tattva. No difference. So, in that unity of Shiva Shakti, we see the Parabrahman or the Aikya Sthiti or the Aikya. The Shiva Shakti Aikya is the same as Brahma and Atma Aikya. That is what is taught in Saundarya Lahari and in Sri Vidya. So from that perspective, what the Advaita that is taught in the Trika system, the Kashmiri Shaivism, and the Sri Vidya Marga that is taught in Kashmir Shaivism is the same as the Sri Vidya Marga that we follow from the Sringeri Matha as well as the Shankara Marga. So there is no difference. However, when we look at the finer details of the Vedanta, which talks about the what aspect, then we may find subtler differences. However, this is a major important study that needs to be done possibly by the university students themselves. Next question.
Whose commentary do you recommend for us for the Saundarya Lahari's better understanding?
Okay. As I said, there are 33 commentaries that are said to be available. Out of that, the foremost commentary is Lakshmidhara's commentary. That is considered to be very prashastha or very, how do I say it, very relevant to us. Also because Shankara Bhagavatpada's Guru's Guru, Paramaguru is Gaudapadacharya. You must have known Gaudapadacharya for his Mandukya Karika. So he wrote a treatise on Mandukya Upanishad. He is also known for his another important Sri Vidya Grantha called as Subhagodaya Stuti. Subhaga Udaya, Subhagodaya Stuti. It is said that Acharya Shankaracharya wrote Saundarya Lahari as a commentary to Subhagodaya Stuti. Okay. So Lakshmidhara also is said to have written commentaries for Subhagodaya Stuti as well as Saundarya Lahari. However, the commentaries of Lakshmidhara for Subhagodaya Stuti is not available. Only Subhagodaya Stuti is available. Why am I saying this? Is Subhagodaya Stuti is a pure Samayachara Kriti. That means it does the Khandana or it actually disapproves of Kaula Marga. So it is a pure Samayachara Marga or Samayachara Tatpara Marga Kriti. Now, Shankaracharya was also a Samayachara Margi in terms of Sri Vidya Upasana. As well as Gaudapada also was a Sri Vidya Upasaka of Samayachara Marga. Okay, and our Sringeri lineage also follows the Samayachara Marga. Lakshmidhara was also a Samayachara Marga Upasaka. So from that lineage perspective, if one wants to be in the Samayachara Marga, then Lakshmidhara Vyakhyana should be followed as a commentary. That way, one gets to understand both the Subhagodaya Stuti as well as Saundarya Lahari together. So studying Subhagodaya Stuti as well as Saundarya Lahari together is a very important aspect of understanding Saundarya Lahari, because Saundarya Lahari alone is possibly 60%. Then adding Subhagodaya Stuti to it, there are 52 shlokas in Subhagodaya Stuti, gives a complete perspective of Saundarya Lahari. And to add to this, I have taken Saundarya Lahari and Lakshmidhara Vyakhyana as a very important part of my work. I have taken some Lakshmidhara commentary and I have written extensively. I have written on Saundarya Lahari, and I would like to another time I would love to talk about that as well. Please, next question.
Our final question for this session, sir.
Yes.
What is the central practice that we can take away from Saundarya Lahari as a basic sadhana?
Yes. Okay. I think I'll take 5 minutes to 7 minutes to answer this question. I think we'll go a little over time. See, as I said earlier, Saundarya Lahari is both the Bhakti Marga as well as Jnana Marga. And it also is the Tantra Marga and Upasana Marga. So the basic tenet of Saundarya Lahari is the Bhakti. That means anybody who chants Saundarya Lahari with or without understanding it, Saundarya Lahari has a magnetic quality of attracting us. The moment you chant Saundarya Lahari, there is a beautiful Nirmala Ananda, because it is written in that Shikarini Chandas. It is Devi Marga, and also it has a soothing and a healing effect inherent to it. So the least that one can do is chant Saundarya Lahari. And when one chants Saundarya Lahari, you can chant it as a mantra. You can chant it also as a kavya. When you chant it as a kavya, you can put it into ragas and you can also chant it. So that is one of the things that we are doing. So that is one aspect from a bhakti perspective, whether you understand Saundarya Lahari or not. The second way to look at is start understanding the meaning of each shloka and read. And even in Saundarya Lahari, the first 41 is the Nirguna Parabrahma Pratipadana. So the first 41 is the difficult ones. The next 42 to 100 are the Saguna Aradhana, which is the Keshadi Padanta Varnana of Devi. Okay, so the first 41 is not easy to understand. And so understanding, the second step is to understand each shloka. That's the next step. Then the third part is to understand what is the philosophy that Saundarya Lahari is talking about. So at one level, it is the Mantra Marga. At another level, it is the Kundalini Marga. So which means it actually talks about the Raja Yoga. That means it talks about the architecture of your Sahasrara, the architecture of the Kundalini, the how to raise the Kundalini all the way up and get it to your Sahasrara and bringing it back again to your Mooladhara. It also talks about Sri Chakra, the architecture of Sri Chakra. It also talks about Panchadashakshari Mantra. Why am I saying all this is that depending on what attracts each one of us, our each epistemology is different. One person may get attracted to the mantra aspect. One person may get attracted to the Kundalini aspect. One person may get attracted only to chanting the mantra and not going beyond. One may get attracted to understanding the shlokas in detail. So it depends on where each one wants to start and the journey of understanding Saundarya Lahari. Also, another way to look at it is to understand Saundarya Lahari as well as understand Lalita Sahasranama. So I will not recommend one single path to everybody. depending on your own epistemology, your own journey, you can choose Saundarya Lahari to kind of understand it from different perspective. Finally, we all go to the Jivan Mukta state. We always want to understand the Aham Brahmasmi and then take Saundarya Lahari from that aspect as well. So another aspect is to take it from a very, very pertinent question was asked, right? The comparative study of Vedanta, Shankara Vedanta with Sri Vidya, and understanding it from Sri Vidya perspective as well. So it all depends on what a particular sadhaka or a seeker is seeking inside, and integrating Saundarya Lahari into your individual study and your individual path is so much better than treading a new path. That is the way I recommend to each of the students. I hope I've answered your question. Next question.
Yes, sir. That was the final question. Thank you, sir, for that enlightening session on Saundarya Lahari. It was an eye-opener for all of us to know that this scripture has unique properties and at times even has healing abilities. We got to know the significance of studying this particular text and multiple aspects through which it is studied. Sir, just to bring to your notice, at our university campus, equal importance is given to both Paravidya and Aparavidya. And in the mornings, we'll study Aparavidya, which is material knowledge or material education. And in the evenings, we study various scriptures like Vedas, Upanishads, Stotras, and Prakarana Granthas that are composed by our revered Sri Hari Shankaracharya. And finally, on behalf of the leadership board of the university, I wholeheartedly thank you for this wonderful session. And I would also like to extend a warm invitation to our central campus, which is at Kalaburgi in Karnataka.
Thank you very much.
We'll end this session with Shanti Mantras. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Thank you.